Howdy friends, I thought it might be helpful to share a few thoughts about the jihadi mindset. I think one of the reasons why Western people are so shocked when they see events like what's happening in Israel, a lot of that is because our Western intuitions are wildly off base when it comes to how a Islamic jihadist thinks. And so I was trying to think about what are the ways that they think that are so different than most Western people. So I'm going to give you guys just 4 examples of the way a jihadi thinks that is very different than what you probably would expect, what your intuitions tell you how somebody is going to think in these situations. Okay, the first mindset I think is helpful to understand is that jihadists, their governmental or political mindset, they do not value democracy or freedom the way most Western people do. They want an Islamic government. And so because of that, in any place where there are a lot of jihadists, you're always one election away from ending democracy. That's a very strange dilemma because we always think, oh, more freedom, more elections, more democracy is going to make everyone freer. That's only true if the majority of people in that place want a democracy. But if they don't, then you're always one election away from ending democracy. And that's what happens in Islamic countries all over the Middle East. And if you can imagine that, let's say there was a political party in America who didn't believe in democracy, and so you vote for them, they would use the election cycle to get the vote, and then once they are voted in, they would end democracy. So that's a very difficult situation to be in, and that's one of the ways that jihadists think. The second mindset of a jihadist is really the purpose mindset. Jihadists believe that they are fighting the most epic battle against the greatest enemy of all time. And you have to put yourself in the shoes of a young man who has to decide whether or not they want to scrape a living in a very difficult economic environment, or they could become a warrior in one of the greatest battles in all history. And this is being reinforced by all the people they respect, by the elders in their society, by their family, that they're being cheered on by millions of Muslims around the world. And so this is an extremely attractive option for a jihadist. And so they can be filled with that sense of purpose. And so oftentimes when Western people say, well, this is only economic problems, you gave them land, you gave them opportunity, this would all go away. That's why when they actually looked at the background of the people that did 9/11, they were people that had huge economic opportunities, but they found more purpose in being jihadists. The third mindset that's important to understand with the jihadist is the ethical mindset. So within the Quran, it's clear that during jihad, the ends do justify the means. And so if you can justify the most egregious human rights violations by the kind of end that you're trying to achieve, then this is ethically allowed within Islam. And so you're going to see the worst violations of human rights happen when your ideology, when your religion is telling you that ultimately what matters is the goal you're trying to achieve. And so it's shocking to the Western mind, but this is how dangerous this ideology is. The jihadist mindset in this area is so beyond what we can imagine. And this is where the Western imagination often breaks down. We don't understand the kind of danger our societies are in a fight like this. All right, the fourth and final mindset I wanted to share with you guys is the apocalyptic mindset of a jihadist. They desire to create enormous chaos because there's nothing worse to a jihadist than the existence of a Jewish state in the middle of the Middle East. They want a one world government that is Islamic. And so the more chaos they can create, the more they can stir up the Middle East to fight the Jews, the more they will. There's no end to this desire until this Jewish state is totally eliminated. And if it were ever eliminated, then it would just begin a civil war between the Sunnis and the Shiites like we saw in Iraq, because they need a unified one world government for the kind of apocalyptic vision that they have for the future. And that's why it is so critical to understand that the Jewish state is on the front lines of a battle that we're all in with jihad. Okay, so if this is the mindset of a jihadist, what hope is there? And it's important to say right off the bat that the modern Western secular mind has no answer to this problem. And so because of that, people that are in the modern Western secular mindset, they do not properly think about jihad. They always think about it from the perspective of this is ultimately just a geopolitical problem, this is an economic problem, and it is not. It is a spiritual problem. And as a believer in Jesus, I do not see that there is any solution down that path. The only solution is the gospel. The only solution is for us to be praying for those who are caught in this terrible mindset to come into relationship with Jesus. And apart from that, I don't see any possible solution because this is a satanic deception that needs to be confronted, and the gospel is the only way for people to be freed from it.